Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Tell Nut Show. As always, we are your hosts. We have the fabulous Kirsha Fox, author of the Deception and Justice series. She is a homeschooling mom of four, avid reader, and gamer.
And my co-host is Julia J.K. Allen, editor, author, and author coach. She's a fantasy and horror author who loves to put magic in everything. We're so excited for our guest tonight, T.L. Combs. A classically trained chef, T.L. now resides on a little farm in North Carolina with her family and pets. A lifelong love of writing and high fantasy turned out to be the Bellham Series. She's now turning her daydreams of authorship into a reality. Welcome, T.L.
Hi, nice to meet everybody.
Yes.
Hello, so happy to have you. Yes.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your author journey. What got you started in writing, and what has it looked like so far for you?
When I guess reading was really, really big when we were little. My parents made sure that we got into all the reading programs at school and all of the, reading challenges that, you got those Pizza Hut tickets after you finish certain amount of books. So that's what we would do every single year without fail, like read 100 books and you get a Friday's gift card, that kind of stuff. So we would always hit the markers. We were at Fridays and Pizza Hut a whole lot. But yeah, it was fantastic. So reading was super, super important. And of course, read all the classics. We did C.S. Lewis in our household time. I grew up with Jane Austen was my all-time favorite. I was in love with Emma. I read that over and over again, and Persuasion and, Northanger Abbey, like all of them. And when I was like 6 or 7, I would write little stories in my book, in my little notebook, and I would illustrate them and have like a whole setup for myself. So yeah, I was always writing stories. But I got around 2008 is when I started writing Take the Time to Realize and the Realization of Him. It was a really tumultuous time in my life, and it was my outlet. And I didn't publish it or anything. I just kind of got it printed and that was it. And it wasn't until like right after COVID, I was telling a friend of mine a dream I had about a young woman wandering around in the woods, not knowing who she is. And I just remember there being a big white dog. And then she goes into a portal and there were elves and stuff. And she's like, oh my gosh, you should write that down. So I did. And that became the Bellham series back here. So so that's kind of humbled into it after that.
I think a lot of us start as just loving reading. A lot of us start as just avid readers, just devouring books. And Austen's my favorite. My favorite as well. So really love that. But it's such a natural progression, right? When you're just devouring stories, and then you build the imagination in your own self, and you begin to want to explore worlds in your own imagination. So
exactly,
I think that's such a natural progression. We love that. We love that though, in the reading and writing journey, and I love that. You got that encouragement from a friend to be like, hey, that's a fantastic idea. You should explore that in a story world. So, yes.
We both ventured into the book talk world together, and she's actually that's A.T. Gober, so she has several novels out herself. So we just kind of it snowballed for both of us
together. That's wonderful.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. I was in the same boat as well, where you just sort of hobby wrote. It was just a thing you did for yourself, and no one was ever going to read it.
Right.
But you get that one story idea, and it just comes alive for you. It takes on its own life and breathes and lives within your brain, and it won't be quiet until you start writing it down.
Right. Exactly.
Yes, we love that.
All right. So, do you write exclusively in high fantasy?
No, I am a mood writer and I have ADHD, so I can't stay in one genre.
ADHD gang here, like both of us. Yes.
All over the place. Yeah, I can't sit still. So my first series was the Bellham series, so high romantasy, portal fantasy kind of thing. And then I needed a palette cleanser, so I wrote my homage to Jane Austen and did the Carter Sisters series, which is a Regency inspired series because it's diverse and all that kind of stuff. And then I went back to take the time to realize that I wrote in 2008, re-edited it for now, and sent out that duet. So that's a contemporary interracial romance. And then I did a romantic suspense, and then I have another pen name that does dark fantasy romance. So
it's just everything. I love it.
Yeah.
And I did a children's book too. So there's that.
Oh wow, wonderful. Is there anything that draws you in particular to kind of the romance and fantasy genre? Like, what do you love about those genres so much that you want to explore all the different aspects?
Because it's not here.
Right, escapism.
There's a happily ever after. So
yes,
that's what I love about the romance genre. I like knowing that even though they're going through something now, it's all going to turn out okay at the end, So that's my favorite part.
Reading the book is not about seeing them come together. It's about seeing how they come together.
Right.
How they overcome those obstacles.
Exactly.
And that's why like Pride and Prejudice is my like comfort read, because it's like there's so much stress and turmoil, but the ending, like, it's so worth it. Like, and the redemption, like him not just like taking the criticism, but like recognizing like, I had good morals growing up, but maybe I got a little lost in my arrogance, you know what I mean? And her also realizing that like I also was like not open to him because he insulted me the first time I met him, and like, but like they go through all the stress and the turmoil, but it's like they both redeem each other. And it's just like, that's probably why we love toxic men, but but we love a healed man, right? Healing, I love it. It's like, you go, the stress is happening as it's unfolding, but it's going to get to that like perfect, satisfying, like just such a good ending where it's like all the stress was worth it. Yeah,
exactly. And I think what I love most about Jane Austen, she never considered herself a romance author. She considered herself a life author, like, because romance exists in life. But she wanted to write life as she would see it. So she wanted everybody to have that happily ever after, and the bad guy gets what he deserves kind of thing. Like, so she always wanted her books to reflect life, however, with the realism of what women went through and the struggle of society. However, she wanted that to come with and they lived happily ever after kind of vibes too. So she's like, well, why not? Why can't we, read real life, but still get that happily ever after? So that's what I really appreciate about her writing. It wasn't just about the love story, but how all of the workings of the society during that time, kind of influenced those decisions. So I really
true reflection. And I love too, she's such a good writer that, she takes this like the everyday, the mundane life, but she makes it so interesting, so entertaining with her vivid characterization and stuff. That it's just like, because you can read the 1-star reviews and they're like, all they did is go to each other's house and have tea, and it's like, but like if you're reading this story, like it's so interesting what unfolds at the tea, and all that stuff. So she's definitely like, I wish I could write like normal everyday life as well and as entertaining.
Exactly.
All right. Can you tell us a little bit about your writing process? How do you go from idea to finished draft?
Oh, so I am a Cancer.
ADHD, so
what's that?
Keeping in mind you do have ADHD can be
so I have the flavor of ADHD that once I get an idea stuck in my head, I can't get it out until I put it on paper. And I can't outline. If I outline it, I don't want to write it because I'm just like, well, that's the end. I don't need to know. I don't have to write it anymore. So I'm a pantser. So I have to I like finding out with everybody else. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen. It's exciting. So, so I just kind of stick with I write a chapter a day or a chapter or two, and kind of see where the story goes. I have the general idea and I do a general outline, like these are the characters, this is where they are, these are the names of everything, eye color, so I can reference back to that. But outside of the basic information, I do not outline the storyline itself, because I like seeing it naturally unfold, and it may shift. I mean, even with the general outline, I usually shift things. I'm like, that's not what they would do. As far like as I'm writing, I'm just like, they're different. They wouldn't do that. So, it just shifts, and and they become alive. And like I have all these different, whips in my head, and they're like these like gifts in my head, and they're on these last scenes that I left them in, and they're just kind of doing that rotating scene in my head,
Yes.
like, I'll get back to you, I see you, don't worry, I'm coming back. So I usually try to finish a book in one sitting. When I say one sitting, I mean like that's the process. Like I don't really jump around projects. Even though I am a mood writer and a mood reader, it's the mood of the moment. Now, if I kind of get too involved, I have to take a step back, and I'll either read someone else's book or listen to a book. But I don't typically go to another book of mine. So I try to stay within that same world. Just maybe take a step back so I don't burn out in it.
Yeah.
Because I want to finish it. I want to find out the ending. So that's how that goes.
Thank you.
Yeah. I know a lot of people that kind of feel the same way of like, if they discover the story before they write, then their brain's kind of like, we've done this, we're done with it.
Yeah.
I know I really struggle with like, if I have to do something twice, like I did the thing and you want me to do it, what do you mean I got to do it again? Because
I don't want to do this again.
Whatever happened. Yeah, I'm just like that. My brain revolts against that. So like, my outlines will be like, this is the action that happens in this chapter, this is the conflict it causes, and this is my goal, like for what I want to do, like develop the relationship or whatever. I can't figure out like the plot because then it's just like, oh, I've already done this, what do you mean we gotta do it again?
I don't want to do this anymore.
I'm very much a plotter. Otherwise my characters are like staring at each other like, what do we do now? And I'm like, I don't know.
I need to know what happens next.
Yes. I like what you said about the character sort of being stuck in gifts, because in my head it's something similar where it's like all the characters are actors still on the stage and they're standing there waiting for me to direct them.
Yeah.
Like, hey guys, from the top, let's run it again. And they're like, okay. And I'm like, maybe with more feeling. Get more anger. Add that in.
Go through this again. Maybe you're over here instead of over here. So yeah.
There. What are you doing?
I think the plotting really benefits Kirsha though, because you have so much intricacy and like things braided and weaved together and all these little plot lines that you've like left in breadcrumbs in other books that then develop and bloom in later books. So I think if you weren't plotting, like you'd be leaving behind a lot of stuff. I mean, and that's the thing about the writing process is like there's so many different ways to write, as much as there are writers writing, right?
Yeah.
Whatever works for you is what works for you. There's no superior or right way to do it.
Right. Like especially with doing a fantasy, there has to be some level of organization with that. Like by definition, I guess I am a planner, where I do plan out the generalities of what's going on in the storyline. But I realized very early on with the realm and everything that I had of course there was lore that you had to remember. So that had to be written out. And then there was the background stories of all the other characters. I was like, well, that needs to be a paragraph over here. And then like, so it ended up being a whole plot system. And that I had to remember, okay, well, this happened in this book, this happened in, this section here. And I make sure I tie that storyline up, and I have to tie this storyline up. So like, that for sure, there was a process of I had to take a moment and organize myself with all of the information that's there. Because if you don't, especially in these type of books, you'll get completely lost.
But a lot of people kind of come in later drafts after you already know the story. And now it's time to like flesh it out more. And do some world building. But like that initial first draft, that plot, like, that's solid. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people look at it as like a polarity. You're either one or the other. It's a spectrum though for most people, where you have aspects, and like you're saying, like world building and knowing character backstory. That's not the
Right.
same as like I'm gonna sit out and tell myself exactly what happens in every section of each chapter.
Right.
So there's a lot of like planning and recording that goes
Yeah.
in it, but it doesn't mean we don't do the fun discovery writing as we
Right.
go and kind of incorporate the best of both worlds into it.
Yes.
I really love having kind of like I'm analog. Like if I do too much on the computer, then I like it doesn't connect for me the same way. So I always have a binder that has like all of those informations of being like, here's the characters, what color eyes do they? Yes, exactly. What color eyes do they have? What happens in this book, so that I can refer to it later. But that's also you can compile after you've written the draft, just to keep track of this is the events in book 1. So when I write book 3, I'm not like, did this happen in book 1 or book 2? Series compendiums like save my life as an ADHD person with horrible memory issues.
Yeah.
So, do your ideas typically begin as character ideas or plot ideas?
A little bit of both. Sometimes if you're on Pinterest, you kind of see like an amazing looking character, and you're just like, oh, now hear me out.
Mood board moment. Yeah.
What if usually I'm on there for a recipe, and then I see a random picture and I'm just like, oh, that would be or just like a background of a landscape, and that's usually how that happens. And there's a whole storyline, so it's usually plot that I see based off of a picture or a character or an actor even, that I see them in a situation, and I'm just like, but what if, hear me out, what if he was actually her brother? And it just kind of unfolds in that kind of way. So it doesn't matter what it is, honestly. It's always everything is a trigger when you do this kind of
that
stuff.
Magic what if.
Yeah, so it could literally be anything. So I just tend to try to be open to whatever happens, kind of thing. And then I maladaptive daydream a lot. And just could be a phrase or something someone said, or just anything like that, and I'm just kind of get lost in my own head and just like, oh, that would be really cute if there was a story like that, so that's how it goes.
Inspiration is everywhere.
Yeah,
it is,
for sure.
And the funnest part, I mean, even though I write like fantasy and other stuff, it's not always heavily romance based, although sometimes I kind of do wander into that territory. Like, it is so fun though when you're like, okay, what's the meet cute? It is so fun when you're like, okay, how do we deepen the relationship between the two characters now? Like, how are they going to get closer and like have their little cutesy moments? Like, it's so fun to think about and develop those as well.
Exactly.
I love a good like deepening relationship, especially if it's like a little bit of a slow burn,
Yes. Oh, I love the slow burns. Yeah,
I know. Although in real life, I'm like, I'm a fire sign, so I'm like, we're rushing through this. We're hasty.
Oh yeah,
that's what I love in my stories, to do the build up.
No kids, but like you're like, no, they have to earn it.
Right. They have to earn it.
Yeah.
The story, it's so satisfying when they do.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about favorite authors. Do you have any other authors though that you really admire for like what they do best?
I really enjoy, what really got me thinking even that I could potentially do this, or that I would want to do it, was Taya Rain's Lily. It's a portal romantasy, and I read it several years ago, and I remember reading, it's like 900 pages of the entire series, and I just remember reading it within like 3 days, and that's with wife, mom, all that stuff, and I was just like devouring it. And I just really remember thinking to myself, like, I could do a story like this. Like, I just really, really appreciated the way she developed the characters and all the additional, side characters in the lore and everything. I just really, really enjoyed the book. And not only that, it was a girl who was mixed. So I saw myself
Mm.
in the situation.
Mhm.
So which was a huge deal because, like, especially in fantasy, you don't see a lot of people of color, one, and then two,
Right.
mixed race, in that. So I was like really enthralled. But I was like, oh, it's just like me. So like I really,
Mhm.
really appreciated that side of the story. So so yeah, Tyre Rain is definitely one. Um, who else? I
I
just
know. There's so many.
there's so many. Like, it's hard for me now. So now it's just the people that I'm around all the time, um like Lacey Chantel and Cy Harold and H.E. Gober and Elena McPherson. So like these are all the people that I see doing their job, doing jobs, working and writing, or writing full time, whichever it may be. With each one of them, it's different. But and then seeing them still produce, amazing books in their preferred genres, because all of them do different genres. And I just think that's incredible to see that happening in real time with with colleagues and friends and stuff like that. So I I like seeing it happen and unfold in front of me too,
Mhm.
outside of reading someone else's work. So I get to see the whole process and then hold the book in my hand, like, I was there when she wrote that scene, like.
Yes,
So
right. So
that's been
exciting.
fun, being in this community, is being able to creatively be involved with your friends' works. So, and then get to hold it in your hands
Yes.
afterwards. So that's been fun.
Yes.
That is
Oh, there's
definitely
nothing
the
better than
best
finding your
part.
people.
My
Yeah.
author friends. Oh my gosh. And I love that. Like, you're holding a book and you're pointing to the paragraph. You're like, I did that. You see that
Yeah.
suggestion right there? I put that word there.
I totally told her to do that. Like, yeah.
Yeah, just seeing your friends produce their books and
Yeah.
being there
Mhm.
with them every step of the way and cheering each other on. A lot of us are moms and we're
Yeah.
writing our spur moments, and
Yes.
it's so hard, and yet we keep going, and because we love this so much, and
Yes.
have
Exactly.
to we have to make time for it. We have to carve time out of for it, and yeah, it's the best thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Uh,
It's really
yeah,
fun.
and yeah, once you find your people too, it just makes it so much easier to continue with the hardships because the joy is shared with other people who get it too. That's what I
Yeah.
really love about the writing community. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I wanted to jump backwards. I think we missed a question that I really like to ask, but what do you think is the most important part of writing?
Um, I think mostly not taking yourself so seriously.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of the times we get stuck in our own heads, and we, the imposter syndrome comes in real strong, and we're sitting there just like, I can't do this anymore. Or someone gave you a 3-star review and they're like, oh no, it's awful. Everybody hates it. And, so I feel like if you don't take yourself too seriously,
Mm-hmm.
and realize that these words are an extension of yourself, um and you should write this because you like to write it, not because these
Mm-hmm.
are a list of tropes that you have to check off, or because the readers want to have a book too, and you got to get it out there no matter what the cost. And it's just like, no, I just want to find out what happens to these two. Honestly, I don't care what you guys
Right.
think about it. I just want to find out what happens. So I have come to find out that I don't write for my readers per se. I'm
Mm-hmm.
writing for me. I'm writing for the little girl who loved love stories. I'm writing, you know what I mean? I'm writing for the little girl who didn't see herself in the stories that she did love, but she never saw
Yes.
herself physically in them. So that's who I'm writing for.
Yeah.
So whoever that may be outside of myself, and that's awesome. I'm glad someone else will
Mm-hmm.
love it as much as I do. But like I've decided that I'm not going to write for anybody else but me. So That's where I am.
Why is so important.
Yeah.
Yes. Most of the time, it can't be for money or for fame or for
Right.
the success. Like, you can aspire to those things. You can dream of those things, but you have to write, at some point, you have to write for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to write from like a genuine place for the connection to happen with the readers, right? If you're only strategizing, if you're only overthinking, like, how do I do this? Like, because that's the thing, when you're overthinking, even if it's because we just want to write a really good novel, like, but that can like hinder our creativity, that can limit us, that can make us make decisions that maybe aren't best for the story because we're worried we need to fit it into a box, right? But like when you're just enjoying the process, like the reader is going to pick up on how much you enjoyed creating it, and they're going to connect to that as well. And I think like what you keep saying about like representation, it's so important. Like the only anime I ever really got into was like Inuyasha, because I had the same thing where I'm like, he's a halfie like me, you know what I mean? Where it was just like, I relate, you know what I mean? I related so much to it, and I just loved this story. And then of course the characters are so fun and easy to fall in love with, you know, with the lecherous monk and you know, everyone else involved. But it was just like,
I loved
representation
Inuyasha.
matters. Like, yes, I know. It's just like, when you can finally see yourself in a character, because we all have books that we loved, but like when you finally see you in a character, like how much more meaningful, how much more do you fall in love with that book? And so right for you, because other people like you need to see that in the world too. I love that message.
Exactly.
As someone with a white-haired half-demon main character, yes, I was very fond of Inuyasha growing up. But I honestly didn't make the connection until well after I'd published, and we were talking to someone else about anime, and I was like, wait a minute. Like, maybe that had a bigger influence on me than I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing the stuff that comes out that's deeply rooted.
Entwined in our subconscious for life.
We need stories that we relate to, that tell our own stories in a different way. When you start taking that away and playing it too safe, or only sticking to a formula or checking off boxes, you end up with stories that have no soul. And we see it. We see movies, we see cartoons, we see things or books, and we're like, this just had no soul to it at all. It was
not at all. It's a play-by-play. It is a play-by-play of what sells, and that's it. And it's very frustrating, even down to the covers. Like, you know, I was at Barnes and Noble literally the other day, or yesterday actually, and it's just like every single traditionally published cover looks exactly the same. Like there's no differentiation outside of color and certain little pieces of the puzzle of what the
the
story is
artistic
about.
choices have all been removed, and it's a template.
It's a template completely, and they're just like, oh, if you don't fit into this box, like half the time I don't even know what the tropes are when I'm going into it. Like, I don't know, I'll figure it out once. Like, we gotta market it. Like, oh yeah, I guess I should figure that out. They like each other, you know. Eventually,
like, I'll include tropes, but I'm gonna turn them on their head, so they're never you know.
So it's like,
you want to be surprising and innovative with it. I think the other thing though is like, if you use tropes or beats, right, to guide you, so you know that the story's not going to fall off the wayside, right? Jump off a cliff and you don't know where you're going with it. Like, that's fine, but like, don't overthink to the point where you're like, it's this page number, or I'm at this, I need to be at this page. If I don't hit this exact trope now, like, everything's ruined, you know. I encourage people to be flexible and adapting with it. It's a guide, it's a map, but like, you don't have to like hit the formula perfectly to write a good book.
Right, exactly. And it's so funny, because when those books that spin off that hit something, that it's usually a book that was outside of the mold, you know, and then everybody's like, oh, that's the new trend, and it's like,
that's a new mold to fit into.
Like, it's just ridiculous. So it's just, you know what, write what you want. Don't put yourself in a box, and just have fun with it, you know, enjoy the story as it goes.
We've definitely
the more you enjoy writing it, the more the reader will enjoy it, I think.
There's a difference between like someone who's just doing whatever, but like, oh, sorry, I'm not saying it very well. you have to know the rules so then you can willfully break them.
Right.
I feel like someone who maybe doesn't know the rules, like they need more rounds of edits to get there.
Right.
Like
Of
there
course.
are definitely beat points that you need to hit, otherwise
Yes.
it's meandering, or you know,
Mm-hmm.
there is an art to storytelling for sure.
Of course. Of
But
course.
as you said, it's when you willfully know those rules after learning them that you then can come up with something that grows beyond the
Yes.
box of what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, like
Right, but it has
I'm
to be
all
like
for the
intentional,
hero's
not just
journey.
rebellious.
Yes.
Right. Like
Yes.
I'm all for the hero's journey. Like I love that. Like love the hero's journey. I love that what he has to go through and all that kind of stuff. I love the steps that have to happen in order for the end to happen, you know, the big finale. But
the steps,
there's different ways he can get there, you know?
Yeah.
Right. It's not all the same way up the mountain.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Without the fall, he can't descend, you know?
Right. Exactly.
Right, yeah, you know, you gotta have the dark night of the soul, you know, or some transformation process, right? But you don't have to do it step by step. At this page, I do this.
Right. Like your character should not be the same person as they were at the first page one. They should be a little different by the end. Even if it is a cozy read, there should be a slight alteration of the character. Like they developed something, they found something out, just something, you know? Yeah.
The character doesn't have to improve as long as they're evolving. They can even get worse, become worse people, you know, if depending on what kind of story you're writing.
Hey, no, we love a dark story, so if they need to change, it could be for the worst.
Just to subvert those tropes. What have you learned from the writing process?
What have I learned from the writing process? I learned that I am braver than I thought I was. I learned that I could do this, that I could make money doing this. I learned that it's hard. I learned that it's really hard. I learned that marketing is terrible and it is life draining and soul sucking. So yeah, I've learned a lot of good and bad in this industry, in this community. I learned that book talk can be really, really toxic. And it is okay to take a break from social media. And it's not even social media anymore. It's algorithm media. It's marketing media. And so, so I've learned that it's okay to say no. It's okay to not answer DMs. It's okay to not look at certain reviews of your book. And it's actually appropriate to not go into those spaces. So whereas I would typically review, I didn't really review a whole lot of books unless I loved it. So I keep that kind of pattern going. Unless I love the book, I don't review it. You know, I just like, we're just gonna leave that alone, you know, like hope the best for all of them, you know, and just let people know, I did read it and this is what it's about, you know, and that's all I'm gonna say on the matter. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus because I know how that feels. I would never do that to anybody unless they need to be like, hey, that wasn't cool what you did, you know. But I will call out when it's necessary to call out. But I've definitely learned because I did a segment for a couple of years called Baby Author Spotlight. And in doing that, I learned that a lot of people are dishonest. And I had a couple of run-ins with certain authors on the show. One found out that her books were plagiarized by another author from another author's work, and then had to, you know, of course, take the video down because someone reached out to me personally, which I appreciate that person to this day for doing it privately. And hey, you probably don't know this, but and I was like, well, thank you so much. And she sent me the screenshot, sent me the proof because I was like, I need the proof from you before I just go willy-nilly telling everybody that, hey, this person plagiarized. But nope, there was proof. painful proof, actually, almost word for word, chapter by chapter too, and even the chapter title to the point. It's like,
Ew.
girl, it was bad. So I called her out by name. I hate doing those type of videos. I don't do that kind of stuff. I hate drama. I don't do it. I don't get involved in it. I don't usually speak on it at all. It's just like, I'm going to just stay out of that. My name wasn't called in it. But since I was personally involved, I had to. I couldn't just take it down and not say anything. So that happened. And then another one that happened, my name got put into it and I got tagged in the video that she decided to rip ARC readers in half because I was her ARC reader. And I did her book on Baby Author Spotlight, and she decided she was upset with ARC readers because not all of her ARC readers did what they said they were going to do, I guess. And she got really upset.
Which is the nature of ARC readers?
What's that?
Which is the nature of ARC readers? They're
voluntary. That's why you do so many of them.
You don't pay them. You don't own them. They don't.
It's a numbers game. You know that if you send it to this amount, this percentage is probably going to read it, and then that percentage will probably review it. So that's the chance you take with ARCs. Well, the first line of her video was ARC readers suck. And I'm like, oh God, I'm tagged in this. Oh my God.
Right.
What is this about? So I had to address that. So it was bad. And so it was like, there's different things that have happened doing that segment. And I have learned that, again, a lot of people are interesting, different strokes for different folks. And I have learned to have a thicker skin and that I have to approach that with a certain level of elegance and a certain level of, respect, even for the person who is being called out, So I've learned to not take things personally in that regard. And just kind of roll with it. And I've learned that this name, TL Combs, is a brand. And I have to keep it moving with that brand too. And, have to present a certain way when I go places. And it's been an interesting thing because, back in when I was younger, authors were behind the scenes. They weren't coming out doing stuff and being seen on television and talked to all the time, unless they were like Stephen King or something like that, but everyday authors, you didn't see them, pseudonyms were a thing and no one knew who you were. And there was no social media back then. And that was it. But now it's like, you have to be seen and people want to know you. And so learning that part of it and learning what to share and what not to share and what's appropriate and what's not. It's just been a huge thing for me in this process. So,
absolutely. Yes, you definitely need to take care of your brand, especially when you consider who is your audience and what is your genre. And, it's okay to keep some things private.
Right. Right.
There's a lot of things that you shouldn't necessarily share on social media, author or not, honestly.
Right.
Right. Your inside thoughts.
I miss shame sometimes. I just shame is things that because a lot of people like to share a whole lot. And it's just like, hey guys, this is your author account. Let's stick with this kind of stuff.
I don't know. I kind of do like when people are oversharing and then you can be like, well, I don't align with this. It's good to know that though. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not always a bad thing when people show their colors and you can be like, well, I don't align with that. So now I know in the future, I'm not going to buy.
I understand that.
Because I hate when people come out and they say their truth, their inside thoughts, and then they're like, oh, wait, I'm getting backlash. I'm not going to apologize for what I say or my thought, but I'm going to say I'm not saying this anymore because I'm losing buyers of my book.
Right.
It's just, if you take a stance, that's fine. But own that stance.
Exactly.
That we can, decide what to do.
Yeah.
You have to take responsibility.
Of course.
I really loved all of your responses about the bravery and about stay in your lane as an author, as far as like we don't invade readers' spaces and
Right.
mean about reviews we don't appreciate,
Right.
because it has nothing to do with us. And if you can't
Right.
handle having a like collected, measured response to a review you don't agree with, like, you should never respond to reviews, first of all.
Right.
Like, just don't read them if you don't have the
Right.
emotional, you know, because it's like, it takes a lot, right? Because that's our child, right? Our books, we
Yeah,
pour
for
everything into
sure.
all this time, care, emotion. So like when someone doesn't like it, like of course you might have a big response reaction to it, but like don't read the reviews then. You know, just
No.
avoid them altogether.
Yeah, and
If someone
I think
shows
the
you a good
only
one, like, hey, happy surprise. But like, yeah.
yeah,
I
the
know there's
only
a lot of
time
great
I have ever responded to a reviewer, and it wasn't even them directly. It was because I got tagged in a review that was like 4 stars, and then proceeded to tell all the reasons why it wasn't 5. And I was like, "Why did I get tagged in this?" Like,
right.
like, are you
Did
wanting
you
me to
not?
change it? Like, I don't understand why I got tagged in this. So
Right.
it wasn't like a direct response. Like I didn't like stitch it and like it was just like, hey, general saying, don't tag authors in reviews. That'd be great. That'd be fantastic. Unless it's just you
No.
saying how much you loved it and you can't wait to read
Right.
more. You can tag us in those, but like don't tag us in,
Right.
don't tag us in specific critique.
about it. Yeah.
Do that.
No, for sure. Especially because it's
Yeah.
like there's the idea that I know a lot of authors love to read reviews because they want to improve. They have a desire
Right.
to be better. But here's the thing, like if someone tells you something's not working, like yeah, they might be right, but if they tell you like how to fix it, they're usually not right anyways. Or it doesn't work for them because of their personal likes, dislikes, beliefs,
Exactly. Yeah.
whatever. It doesn't mean
It just
that it's
wasn't
gonna
for
if
them.
you follow
Right.
every criticism you get, doesn't mean
Exactly.
your book's going to improve by fixing every criticism you get either.
Right.
So
Exactly.
like, you need to
The
protect
parable
yourself.
of the
Yeah,
man
stay
and
out
the
of it.
donkey with his son. Like he tries to please everyone, and you can't.
You can't. Yeah, it's impossible.
You really can't.
And that's why it's important to stay out of those reviewer spaces unless like
Yes.
one thing I do like about Amazon is you can section it off to what reviews you want to look at, specifically 5, 4, or 3, you know, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So if you really want to, you know, make yourself cry, go ahead and read those 1-star reviews. But
Well, but the thing is too, every author that you look up to, admire, look up your favorite authors and read their 1-star reviews, and you will be you'll realize like I'm in good company, and people are talking out of their butts half the time when they leave a 1-star review of being like I said, Jane
you have
Austen.
to
It's all
really
about
upset
going to
someone
someone's
to
house
get
for tea. Like you missed a lot then out of that book that you could have got, and that just if the most famous, the most critically acclaimed authors get 1-star reviews, like who cares if you do? It doesn't mean anything what you're writing. Yeah.
I got a 1-star review where they called my book fan fiction. And I was like, please, please, please. I didn't say this, but I'm like, please tell me what fan fiction I'm writing because I really need comps for my book.
Right.
Right.
Right. If you're going to insult it, at least let me know specifically why. Like,
yes.
Tell me I want to know why.
Is like my book because I really need to know that. That would be very helpful.
I love it.
But yeah, some readers can really just be kind of just ridiculous and be out there throwing punches because they're anonymous and on the internet. You can't do anything about them. Just keep writing.
Yeah. Right. And like I said, that's one of the things I have to make sure I don't take it seriously or personally rather.
Yeah.
It is like realizing that this is how they see themselves in this little box. And they're not necessarily realizing that hey, we're real. Like we're people. We have feelings. And I have to be understanding that they don't understand that. Because if they did, then they probably wouldn't be making those videos.
Well, I feel like celebrities used to be, and book authors included, used to be so removed.
Yeah.
You know,
now we're really accessible.
Whatever you want, and they would never hear about it. Right. But now our world is so internet connected. I realized like yesterday that my very favorite voice actor like has an Instagram, and it's like not a PA, that's him on there. And like either it's that or it's a really good PA. And I was like, I could hit message. I could literally hit message and send him a message, and he'd probably hear about it.
He might see it. Yeah.
What is this world now that like we can?
It's so different.
You know.
It's so different. I remember writing Hanson fan club, you know, and hoping one day they would see it.
Right,
whether I
right.
wrote them.
Yes, I used
But
to
now
have to
they're on.
write a letter
They're
to
on.
the
I
pen
follow them on
pal.
TikTok and
Yes,
Instagram,
yes.
so it's like it's weird.
Yes, absolutely. Used to have to buy their photos in a magazine. Now it's just up.
Now they're there.
Right,
Open your
right.
phone up, Google it.
Yes.
Yep, they're there. So, yeah,
All
it's
right.
a different world than it used to be, and I think we're
For
all
sure.
still kind of got whiplash over that.
Oh yeah, because it's way
Right.
fast. It's really fast.
We talked a little bit about how, like, being a mom is hard, life is hard. How do you make time for writing?
I treat it like a job. So there's designated times in my day that my kids know that this is what's happening. You said that you homeschool, so I homeschool my youngest, and
Mhm.
so he will be 9 next week, and that's fourth grade, and so he has his. We had our school time in the morning, and then he knows like after school, after lunch, then mommy's working, or I work before everybody gets up. I do a couple of hours, and then everybody gets to school, does what they need to do. Our oldest goes off to school, and then he has his school time. We have lunch, and then mommy works again. So everybody just knows that there's a schedule to the day, and that's what we try to
Mhm.
stick to. And if I'm in the midst of writing or editing, I try to do anywhere between 3,500 to 7,000 words per day, just to kind of keep that flow going for
Mhm.
myself, for completing a chapter or two that day, so so I try to keep on a certain schedule. Like I know I need to have this many done if I want to get this book completed at a certain date or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, and usually it's just a date that I put in my head for myself. Like I want to have this done generally by this time. So I know I need to do X, Y, and Z. Now the whole narration side of things is just it's definitely, I know that I'm never going to be a narrator outside of my own books because
Mhm.
the scheduling for that does not always happen the way you want it to. Because when you start to listen to the recordings that you thought were perfect, and then you hear, oh, it was raining that day, and you hear the thunder in the background of a
Right,
recording that you
right.
thought was completely muffled out, or a car randomly drove by, but you thought you cut it out, but you didn't, and you ended up getting that last tail end of it in your first words that you said in that little section. So it's a lot harder editing an audio book than it
Mhm.
is editing an actual book, because then you got to go back in the booth, you got to set back up again, you got to make sure all your dials are where they need to be for this particular chapter that you did, and it's
Right, right.
definitely not for the faint of heart. It's funny. I remember a couple years ago, last year or a year before, there was like this whole slew of masked men on TikTok or Book Talk who
Mhm.
thought they could just come in and be narrators because they had these raspy
Right.
voices. And I think they quickly, that did not live very long because they quickly realized that it's not easy. It's not
It's a lot of
easy.
work.
You can't
Mhm.
just growl into a microphone and say, "Oh, I did a book." And like, no, boo, that's not how that works. That's
No.
not how that works. So, I have, if I didn't have the respect, I mean, I had respect for narrators just in general because I had an idea that it wasn't an easy job.
Mhm.
But having now done it twice over, it's not for the faint of heart.
Right, right.
It's definitely a tough road to be in. So yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Yes, yes.
Well,
No, and that's the thing is a lot of times something looks easy because it's done well, not because it
Yeah,
is easy.
mhm,
right. Right. Exactly. So
mhm.
yeah, definitely utmost respect for all of the background work in this situation.
Mhm.
It sounds like you make time for writing by setting yourself up for success. You have a schedule, you
Yes.
Yeah.
stick to the schedule, you have very clear quantitative goals.
Yeah.
Like you do your best to hit those.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yes.
I
I
really love
mean,
also that you protect your boundaries and you
mhm,
prioritize it like that. And I love that because like especially for moms, it's so easy for to just get moms just give and do everything for everyone else.
oh yeah,
But you are also an individual human being who deserves to
right.
have things you like in your life that you're passionate about doing. So I love
Yes.
that you're just like the kids know this is mom's work time. Like don't
Yes.
interfere.
Right.
Yes.
And it helps having a partner who respects and understands that this is
Mhm.
work. This is a job.
Yeah.
He doesn't think it's a hobby, like, oh, it's a cute little hobby that you do. No, he respects the time, and he understands that, oh, you need to focus. So don't worry, I got this. I'll do this over here. So that
Mhm.
helps tremendously, because I know a lot of people who don't have that support system at
Right.
home, or they
Right.
have a 9 to 5 on top of trying to do this too. So they're
Mhm.
putting kids to
Right.
bed, making dinner, all that kind of stuff, and then whatever 2 hours they have before they need to get to bed, they try to type in a couple of chapters or a couple of thousand words or whatever. So
Yeah.
man, because I do this full
And
time, for me, and still it's hard work. So we're
even
trying to
if it's
get it in.
just a cute little hobby though, like if it's what you're
Right.
passionate about, if it's what you love doing, like they should protect that time for you too. Yeah, you should
Exactly.
be able to
Exactly.
like really lean into it and explore that. Like that's
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah, that's really valuable to have a good support system. Do you want to ask your favorite question, Kirsten? Or
Oh, right. What has been your most significant writing victory so far?
My most significant writing victory. Oh my goodness. I did I'm trying to think what it was now. I want to say that it was when I hit the 3,000 marker for sales. Um
mm,
that was a huge deal. Um because you don't, some people are just like, oh, you maybe sell a couple hundred and that's it, in the lifetime of the book, was the thought process back in the day. And I'm just like, that's crazy. And then when I hit 1,000, I was like, wow, I sold 1,000 copies of that book. That's incredible. And then I hit 2,000 of like the total sales of books that I have. And I'm just like, that's incredible. And then I hit the 3,000 of total. I was like,
This is
I
real.
this is a real thing, like this is cool.
woo!
And I think what was really cool, as jumping from author to artist, because like I mean I went to my first stint in school was graphic design. Like I love to draw, I love to do all that stuff. So that's why I decided, I was like, I'll do graphic design. I only did a year of that in school, and I didn't like it because I was like, ugh, I don't want to do this. So that's when I went to culinary school, because I wanted to be a chef initially, but my dad was like, that's not a real job. So, it's a whole thing.
And then you
But
showed
anyway, right.
him it
Yeah,
was a real job.
it was a real job. I did it for almost 20 years. So it was definitely a real job. But so when I decided to jump into the art side of things, because I was looking at, I'm like, oh yeah, character art, that's a thing. Like I want to see
Right.
how I can make that work, like, because obviously you're there was a learning curve, especially when I first started with everything. And like, okay, you can't use Pinterest pictures, so I gotta get real pictures for myself.
Mm.
um and then I was seeing the drawings that people were doing for character art, and people were paying for it, and I was like, well, I can draw. Like, I can draw a fair bit. So let me go ahead and see if I can make that work. Um, so I started sketching on my sketch pad again, and trying to get ideas and stuff. And then I told my husband, I'm like, well, if you really want to save money, so I don't have to, purchase or commission art, you can get me a tablet, and I can just do it myself and have it digitally done.
Mhm.
And so that's what he did. One Christmas, my Christmas present was that tablet and the pen and the Procreate. So I just started sketching on my tablet from there, and I did all of my covers. Well, all of the arts, all of these, I redid all of these. So I bought art for them. But then I was like, I don't really like the way they look. So I did all of those.
Yeah.
And so I just kept doing so. Like if it's not a model on the cover, it's mine. I drew them. So I was like, I wanted to have my drawings on all of my books that need it, And then I started doing all my character art for all the characters. And then so my friends were looking at that and they were just like, oh, well then you can start commissioning. So I started doing it like hesitantly. Like it was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that.
No, that's amazing.
So I started doing that. And I think the hugest highlight of that, because of the mixture of author money, commission money, I was able to pay for our 10-year anniversary trip through just my time. So I think that was a huge thing. And especially for my husband to see like real money to, pay off all of our things for our trip. And it was awesome. And I felt like it was like a really awesome feeling being able to do that. So I think that was a huge highlight for me, outside of the book sales and all that kind of stuff, is being able to actually buy a substantial thing and call it. So like even all of my extra bits in here have been paid for with author money, like my new computer, my lights, and, all this kind of thing. Everything that's here, my printer for my labels, like everything in this space was purchased with author money. And it's incredible that I'm able to sustain doing this with my author money, so I think that's pretty awesome.
Yes.
But yeah, that's that.
Kudos like that. Yeah, what an accomplishment. Not just the sales, but like, to feel like, we all measure success in different ways. I'm glad you're feeling the success for yourself because you've done something amazing. It's already amazing to write a book, and it's already amazing to publish it because it's a hassle and there's so many steps involved, right? But like, it's to feel that tangible success. Like, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to ask my favorite question real quick, and then we'll move on to sharing your socials. What is writing advice that you hate?
Writing advice that I hate. Anybody can do it. I've heard that way too many times. Especially on social media, and especially with the rise of AI. It's like anybody can do it. Come on, just get on here and do. I'm like,
but if you're using AI, you're not doing it. Like,
right.
You're not doing it.
Cheating on it.
Doing it. You're not writing it. I'm like, that's not how that works. That's how any of this works. So yeah, it's been that's been like interesting to see that anybody can do it. Like sometimes you can't do all of the things, and that's okay. You lean into your strengths, and let's lean into our strengths. And now I'm not saying you can't try everything, like but sometimes when you see enough saying that maybe this is not the path that you should take, you try to listen to those people. But yeah, it's one of those things where you just say that you can do it, or that toxic positivity.
No, yeah. I don't think that not everyone can do it. I think that not everyone has the will to see it through.
Right.
The advice says this is easy and you can, no, this is a really hard thing. This is a journey. This is a
journey.
It is a journey. To get through the top, and a lot of people sadly don't have the will or the oomph to make it up there.
Right.
The easy way out. This is not the right path for you.
Right. Because this is going to be a lot of late nights, a lot of early mornings. You're going to be pulling your hair out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. You're going to cry. Like you're definitely, if you don't cry at least once a week.
You're not crying.
Are you really doing this? Right.
But the thing is, anything worth doing is gonna be difficult. It's not gonna be easy. That's what makes it valuable, is like going through the hard stuff, because then the reward is so much better.
Yes.
Yeah, it always kind of drives me crazy, like when you tell someone like, oh yeah, I write or whatever, and they're like, yeah, I've got a book in me, I've got a story I need to tell, like as if they could
Yeah.
just like sit down and write it in like a week and it'd be like done. I was just like,
Right.
I'm so glad you feel compelled to tell your story. Like everyone's story is valuable. Even if you're not a great storyteller, you can work hard and get a story out and
Right.
get, good people on your support team to help you make something great. But it's just like, yeah, don't be so flippant about like, oh, you wrote a book, like, oh, I'm gonna do that next year. Like, you're probably not gonna, but even if you did, like, good. Like, I'm just happy when people like follow their dreams,
Yeah.
pursue that. Yeah, but like, don't look down on it.
Yeah, I think it's important to definitely seek out to help to make sure that you are doing this because this is something you're passionate about. This is something that you want to do. Not just because just like I'm gonna do it and see how like I want you to take it seriously when you do it and then not belittle those who are in it.
Yes.
Who are in it for real.
Don't be so flippant about it.
Right. It's just like, oh, are you still doing that little thing? Are you still doing that writing thing? Like,
right.
Yeah, that thing. You still doing that
involves
like,
a million different processes and is different every time you step up to the table to do it. You know what I mean? As if it's like easy. Yeah.
Right. And you're praying your laptop doesn't shut down on you. Like, this is the day that my laptop dies. You know what I mean? Like,
oh gosh, right. All right. Well, now's the perfect time to let our audience know more about where they can find out more about you and your books online. So share your socials and a website, anything you'd like.
Yeah, my website is www.authortlcombs.com. And I am on TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, Tome, all sorts of things. And I'm usually author_TL.combs on all socials, or just search TL Combs because I'm pretty much the only one that's on there right now. So as of now, I'm only TL Combs. So just search TL Combs and you'll find me. And I'm on Facebook as well. Not as active, but I am on it. So
you're right. I kind of feel like it's such a stalwart from like our generation that it's like it's hard because I would get off Meta, but it's just like there's so many people I only have contact through Meta, Facebook and stuff. So it's just like, do I really want to say goodbye to like 500 people?
Can't let it go
and never talk to them
there.
again.
It's
right.
Spent 20 years like cultivating this community, and then it sort of becomes evil, and you're like, oh dear.
Right.
Yeah, it's not fun when it's pretty much monopolized all of the groups too. When you're trying to, they're all on Facebook, so you have to have an account. Unfortunately, so it is what it is. So I'm on there. I don't check it a lot, but it's there.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for this wonderful conversation. We've really enjoyed talking with you.
Yes. Same.
And thank you to everyone sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
Thank you to everyone listening at home. Remember, our next episode airs Friday as usual, and there's more than one way up a mountain. If you're interested in being a guest on The Tellnut Show, you can find us on social media at The Tellnut Show or email us at thetellnutshow@gmail.com. Thanks again for watching. Thanks again for listening. If you enjoyed the show, consider subscribing and liking. We appreciate all the support. Julia J.K. Allen is an author, editor, and coach and can be found at hijinksrudder.com.
Kirsha Fox is an author, avid reader, gamer, and mother to 4, and you can find her at kirshafox.com. Thanks and see you next time.